Hi everyone, welcome. FPL Matt Day here, and it is game week 33. This is my live Q&A for the deadline, which is in 4 hours' time. So not long until deadline. We've got a mid-week game week. I can't wait for it. I know there's a lot of people out there using their wild card. I did do a wild card video, so you can also check that out in my videos. This is just going to be a 30-minute Q&A. So I'm going to go through some questions that come in live on the comments during this podcast. So I'll go through those. I'll also go through the fixtures like usual, as well as just talking through some captains and differentials. But the focus on this one is mainly to get some questions in the comments and answer everyone's questions prior to deadline. If you are new here, watching this on pre-record, please get all your comments in all the way up until deadline. Like this video and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new here. But what I'll do, I'll bring up a couple of comments that have come in already. So we had Football Ferreira, avid supporter of the channel. Go and check him out if you haven't done already. He is looking forward to another big week of FPL, which I can't wait for as well. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people are using that wild card, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of wild card questions that come in on this stream. So be sure to get those in. Let's start off with, I'll present the screen and just go through the fixtures for game week 33. There is games that are on tonight, so do not forget the deadline. If you're here in the east coast of Australia, it is a 3 a.m. deadline. On the west coast, it's 1 a.m. And then in the UK, I believe that deadline would be, what are we talking now? 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it is a 6 p.m. deadline in England. So be sure to get your teams ready. But let's go through those first few games that are on the Wednesday night. So these are the first few matches. You've got Wolves, Palace, Villa, Fulham, and Leeds, Leicester. So I'll preview those in a second. Welcome to the stream, PSB. Great to have you in, mate. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts on captains. I saw you did watch the wildcard video as well. So, yeah, thanks for the support, mate. And, yeah, I tried to do a bench boost throughout the video, so I hope you enjoyed it. But let's go into Wolves versus Wolves versus Crystal Palace. I had Man United on my mind because PSB was in the stream. So Wolves v Palace. I'm actually liking Palace players for this game. Gahey, 2 clean sheets now on the bounce, looking really good. Eze's been looking good. Disallowed goal last week against Everton, so he's really been showing some form. So for me, those two really are ones to watch. And obviously Johnston in goal, if you are on that wild card, he's kept a couple of clean sheets, really well priced as well. As for Wolves, I still think they're a stay clear. Look, they've recovered since getting the new coach in. Their results have picked up, but I still am not targeting any of their players for FPL. Then we've got Aston Villa versus Fulham. This is a huge game for FPL. Still liking Watkins. I think he's a really, really good option. He didn't score against Brentford, his old club, on the weekend, but this is a home game for Villa. They do have a lot of injuries going into this, Aston Villa. So they've taken quite a few injuries defensively, also in their midfield, but I think they'll bounce back. I'll go with Villa to nick this by a goal to nil. Actually, I'll quickly do the Wolves score. I think Wolves will be maybe a 1-1 draw. But this Villa game, I'm going to go with a 1-0 Villa. I think it's going to be quite tough, quite tight. Watkins to nick the winner. I think Mings is still a really good option in defence as well, as is Watkins. And Moreno as well. I know Digne's back, but I think Moreno's form's been too good to not play him from Emery. So, yeah, all eyes on Aston Villa in this one. PSB, just with a comment in there, Spurs versus Man United this game week, which is, this is a big one, which I will go through very, very shortly. And then we've got the Leeds Leicester game there as well. I think this is a big game from an FPL perspective for those that have kept hold of James Maddison. He is back. He is in training. Look, I kind of wanted to keep Maddison in my team. I've decided to get rid of him, but a little bit of me does feel that this could be, the game that he does finally return. I guess after managers, have all sold him. But if you haven't used your wild card, still got your team with Maddison in, I'd probably keep him for this one. Yeah, good fixture. Leeds have been letting in plenty of goals. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on selling him if you're not using a chip. Probably the only one I'd kind of target from Leicester right now. And then for Leeds, I'm not really targeting any of their players. I think Leicester might nick this, maybe by a goal to nil. Obviously, Dean Smith just come in there. Or actually, we'll go 2-1. I think Leicester will concede, but they might score a couple of goals. So let's go to Forest versus Brighton. This is a really big one as well. The press conference is done now for Brighton. I know a lot of people weren't sure which Brighton players to kind of pick for this game because they did play that FA Cup semi against Man United, which went all the way to pens. Solly March did miss the pen. So it was heartbreak for Brighton. But De Zerbi just come out and said this is their most important game now of this season as of now, which makes me think he will not drop Matoma, he will not drop Solly March, and he will not drop the likes of Estupiñán and Alexis McAllister. So I think keep those Brighton players, keep those strong Brighton players, start them. I've seen people talk about Forest being really weak down their left side. March plays on that right side. So I'd play all three of your Brighton players. If you've got Luke Steele in goal, yeah, I don't think you're going to get a start out of him. Sanchez has started the last two games. Looked like he was brilliant against Man United on the weekend. He made some really, really good saves. So, yeah, I think Steele's time is up. But definitely play Matoma and March and McAllister, Estupiñán, those players if you've got them. Now let's go to Chelsea versus Brentford. Chelsea have got a bunch of injuries for this. I've just seen Reece James is injured. Mason Mount is out. Kai Havertz is out. So if you've got Tony, probably going to want to play him in this one. Still getting the goals, still getting the points for Brentford. So I'd play him. I'd play the likes of David Raya. I think Chelsea are due a goal. It's been a while, but you could easily see this turning into a 1-0 Brentford. But I'll be kind and go 1-1 Chelsea. Keep your Brentford players, but I wouldn't be targeting any of them on a wild card. Same as Chelsea. I wouldn't really be targeting them. I know they got a double in game week 37, but it's not a good double. And then as for that Forest Brighton game, I'll quickly do the score prediction. I'll go with 2-0 to Brighton. I think they'll come out and get the win. And PSB has said he read a quote from the De Zerbi presser, Robert Sanchez, excellent on Sunday. Consider Sanchez in the league. Yeah, that's what I think, mate. I think Steele's time is now up. He had a good little run. He was cheap as well. But Sanchez, he's always been brilliant in our FPL teams over the last couple of years. Very good keeper. Even him being dropped in the first place, I didn't quite get it. But I think, sometimes goalkeepers, when they're number one, they can get a bit inconsistent. And obviously they decided to make that change. But now he's back. It's worked. He was brilliant in that semi-final. He made so many good saves. I think there was one he made from Rashford that was just, it was world class. So, yeah, Sanchez is on the way back now for FPL, especially with these double game weeks of Brighton as well. They got the most double game weeks, I think, along with Man City now. So, he's a very good keeper to own. Let's go to West Ham and Liverpool. This is another one. I actually think this one could swing the way of West Ham this week. They did actually beat Liverpool last season in this fixture at the London Stadium 3-2. Liverpool have put a few results together. They're scoring goals. They are still conceding goals. I think Kanate is now injured for them. They did get away with it against Forest on the weekend. I could maybe see West Ham nicking this 2-1 or maybe a 2-2. Liverpool will score. I think Salah will get the goal. Maybe Jota as well. He's just on that form. And Jota and Salah love goals against West Ham. So definitely target those players. But I wouldn't play my Liverpool defenders in this one. Well, maybe Trent. I guess Trent, you still get the assists. But yeah, I think it would be a tricky tie for Liverpool. I'm going to go 2-1 or West Ham or 2-2. And it's not often I've backed West Ham this season and even gone against Liverpool. So, it's just one of those games under the lights midweek. And then we've got the big one, Man City versus Arsenal. This big title, almost a title decider, because if Arsenal win this, it's in their hands. If City win this, it's in their hands as well. And a lot of people are expecting City just to get the game done in this, which there's no guarantee. We've seen them drop points at home to Everton this season. For example, they've not, um, they've dropped points. They've allowed Arsenal in this title race. So Arsenal haven't defended well lately, but they might come into this one and look to shut up shop and try and nick, a smash and grab a 1-0, a 1-0 win. And we've seen with Arsenal in their last, few games. We saw the one at at the London Stadium, the one at Anfield. They went 2-0 up in both those games, and then it went to 2-2. And I'm thinking with this one with Arsenal, if they go 1-0 up or 2-0 up, they're going to do everything they can to completely shut up shop and maybe not make the same mistakes. So it's definitely not over for Arsenal. And I'm a Spurs fan as well, as everyone knows. I watches the pod, but I'm not going to write them off because, like they say, Arsenal would have, if someone said to them, you're going to go to the Etihad, and if you win it, you've got a high chance of winning the league. At the start of the season, you take that every single day of the week. So they're still in this game. City, obviously, if they win this, it looks like, they could wrap up the title. Arsenal have that hunger, though, that, they're wanting to win this league. City do as well. This game, it could still go either way for me. I think it's going to be tight. I think it will be nervy for City. I think they might just edge it 1-0, maybe even a 1-1. If they score, I think Haaland gets the goal, couple of bonus. I think it's going to be nervy. I don't think it's going to be a one-way traffic, a real one-sided game like everyone's predicting, because what people need to realise with the way Arsenal play football when they're on the ball, very, very good on the ball. They play on the ball so well. They keep the ball so well. Both of these teams do that. So they might almost cancel each other out. So, I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as everyone seems to think it is, because Arsenal have had a good season. So, 1-0 or 1-1. I target Haaland. If you've got Grealish and you can fit him in, play him. From Arsenal, still play their players. We did have a couple of comments from PSB and one from Ez Shark. So I'll bring PSB's up in a second. But Ez Shark did say, just got on the stream, wondering why everyone's selling Saka. Okay, so people are wildcarding. They're getting rid of Saka now because there's a template of Mitoma, March, Salah, Rashford, all these players that got a double game week in 34. And a lot of people are doing that for 34. So that's why they're selling Saka. Does mean if you've got your Arsenal players, they're differentials again. And they did say Saka will remain on penalties. Arteta said that, and he could go to this. He could go to Etihad and score this game. I know I said I think it's going to be 1-0, but I could be completely wrong. It could be a 2-2. It could be a 1-1. It could be 3-2. It could be really open. So, if you're not on a wild card, I probably wouldn't consider selling Saka. I'd keep him. We'll go to Everton, Newcastle in a second. I will bring up these couple of comments from PSB. So he did ask, he mentioned about from Pete's pod, which is FPL SideNet. I think Salah loves his fixture, 9 goals, 3 assists in 11 games. He does love this fixture. Great record at the London Stadium. And Damo would love at the prediction. It would have been good to have him on the pod actually for this one. He would have absolutely loved that. To be fair, I might have to clip this and send it to Damo. So I got a good feeling about the West Ham result for them. Top 3 City assets. I feel Pep Roulette will murder us FPL managers. It always does, mate. It always does. Number 1, definitely Haaland. You can't sell Haaland. You got to keep him. So he is number 1. Number 2, if you're looking for consistency of minutes and starts, it's got to then be Ederson. I know a lot of people don't want to have to go into that City defence because they've not been keeping the clean sheets like we've seen in previous seasons. But if you want to just avoid Pep Roulette, you've got to then go for Ederson. If you're not as fussed about Pep Roulette, I'd then say Grealish is number 2 because his price. And he's been quite consistent with his returns. But that number 3, I think it's De Bruyne right now. It comes into this form at the end of the season. Maybe not necessarily this game, but game week 37 where they get the double, game week 34 where they get the double. I think De Bruyne is going to be really crucial in those games. I've got a feeling this could be his time, this run in to the end of the season. I'll go Haaland, Edison, and then Grealish / De Bruyne number 3. If you're looking for consistency of starts, if you're looking just for the excitement of Man City, then Haaland 1, Grealish 2, and De Bruyne 3. So yeah, I hope that helps, mate. It's always tough though, pet roulette. It's always tough. You can't predict it. Let's go Everton, Newcastle. Big game for FPL as well. Obviously, Newcastle hammered my team Spurs 6-1, which was just demoralising for the club, for the team. Newcastle were brilliant. Everton haven't been, really that great of lately. They're trying to survive. These are the games that they need to win to survive. Home crowd, Goodison Park, full stadium. Do I think they'll win this one? I don't. Newcastle are just flying at the moment. They're on that form. I think they will win this game. And I want to go. I was going to go 2-0, but I'll go 2-1 because Everton can still just nick a goal at home. But I think Newcastle will win it. So I'll go 2-1. You can imagine Isaac being the sort of main man for Newcastle in this one, along with maybe Wilson coming off the bench and getting a goal like he seems to be doing. So I'd probably say those two. From a Newcastle point of view, I don't mind Joe Willock as well. Cheap, cheerful, looks like he's been getting the starts. Unbelievable De Bruyne type of pass against Spurs the other day. So yeah, 2-1 Newcastle. No one from Everton that I would target right now though. But yeah, big game for FPL managers with all these double game weeks coming up. Obviously Newcastle have got double game weeks. A lot of people are bringing in Isaac now after his good form of late. We'll go on to the last couple of fixtures. We'll bring in this question or comment from PSB. He's got Haaland and Edison with Foden, Grealish, Mahrez, and Bernardo Silva all fit. It's a minefield. I want KDB, but want Salah more for game week 34. Yeah, look, if you're not on a free hit, mate, in game week 34, and you had to pick between De Bruyne and Salah, it's Salah every time. Because Salah's got 2 home games, Spurs, who are a mess right now, and then Fulham at home. So I'd definitely go with Salah. If you're on a free hit, you might be able to squeeze both in. I actually am going to do a free hit draft before the next deadline. So with that in mind, I'll see if I can get a good enough draft to fit them in. But that's what I would say, mate. Bernardo Silva's come into some good form. There's Grealish, there's Mahrez, there's Foden. So it will be interesting. But I think Haaland and Edison right now are your 2 safest bets. And then if you get a third City player in for game week 34, you'd probably put in like a Grealish, but Foden could just come in out of nowhere and just start hitting FPL points again. And just a crazy squad that they've got. And Joel Linton, he looks like a bit of a beast at the moment under Eddie Howe. He's looking like, a mix of Patrick Vieira and in that midfield and a bit of Zidane at times. He's incredible. Let's go to Southampton, Bournemouth. This is a derby, South Coast derby, relegation battle. It's hard to predict. Southampton maybe gain some confidence from the Arsenal game. I think they'll feel very unlucky not to have hung on and won, considering the timing of Arsenal's 2 goals to get the draw, which could be crucial in Arsenal's title race and crucial in Southampton's relegation battle. But I think I'm going to go with a score draw, and I think there'll be a lot of goals. I think this is 2-2. It's going to be a really good match. Ward-Prowse to get on the score sheet for Southampton. Again, though, I wouldn't be targeting him. I wouldn't be targeting any Southampton players. Bournemouth, on the other hand, I still think you can target Philip Billing. Cheap, enabler in midfield, good price. Don't sell him if you own him. And then the GOAT of the podcast, who we absolutely love, Solanke. Good fixture for him. I can see Bournemouth scoring a couple of goals. I know they got hammered by West Ham on the weekend, but they normally bounce back quite well. I can just see this having goals under the lights midweek. Yeah, Solanke for me is a good pick, and I'll go with 2-2. Let's go on to a game I didn't really want to have to talk about this week, but I am. So let's zoom in to that one. And it's Spurs versus United. Is it really a top 4 battle? I don't think it is. United are finishing in that top 4 this season, as are Newcastle. We are not going to be finishing in that top 4. Look, I've just seen Spurs players decided to reimburse the fans for their tickets. It was on the Spurs official Twitter page just now. So, yeah, can I see us getting anything in this game? a draw maybe if the players decide to play with any passion and with a bit more of an idea. Obviously, Mason's there now. Stellini's gone. Mason's definitely going to put a rocket up those players for sure. But we're not organised. There's no structure. I'd be surprised if we even got anything out of it. United have the nucleus of a good side. They'll be buzzing off that Brighton penalty shootout. United are going to win this 3-1 to Man United at Spurs. They've come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and they've beat us. I think a few times now here. I can't remember last season's score. PSB might remember. I can't remember last season's score here, but I do remember the year before Cavani coming here. Last year Ronaldo scored. That's right. Ronaldo come here, and it was when Nuno got sacked. I think it was 2-0 to United, or 3-0 to United. 3-0 to United. And then the season before, United won 3-1, I believe. And then the season before, it was 1-1. So United have a good record at our stadium at the moment. So I think they'll beat us 3-1. Rashford, Rashford's the pick for this. He's got a good goal scoring record against Spurs as well. He's one of those players we just can't defend. We can't get near. I think it's his pace. It's obviously his skill with the ball at his feet. He's a top player. So yeah, I think he's a great pick. I can see him grabbing a couple of goals in this. He's a captain option for me. 3-1 to United. Spurs goal to be a typical Harry Kane finish. I think he will wipe the United clean sheet, but United will win this game. And we'll just bring up a couple of comments that did come in. PSB was just going back to the Southampton-Bournemouth game, and he's saying the GOAT will bag a brace in the derby. I think he will. Solanke will score in that game, I think. And welcome to the stream, mate. It has been a while. I've not seen you in the streams for a while, so I do hope you are well. PSB thinks United will win 2-1. Yeah, I think that's fair. I've gone for 3-1. So we're not winning. That's right. Last season's was 3-0 because Ronaldo scored that unbelievable volley. I remember that. Fernandes is injured. Yeah, it looks like he's injured. I think he's been pictured in a moon boot. So, no Bruno Fernandes for United, but I still think he'll win. It's the week for Rashford this week. So that is the roundup of the games, my predictions for each game, my favourite players from each team for FPL. So please start to get all your questions in now. And for those that have just come into the stream, I've had a few people just come in. I'll be doing a live Q&A now for probably the next 10 or 15 minutes, depending on how many questions come in. If we get more, I might stay on longer. If we don't get enough, obviously I'll leave the stream. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Just hit that subscribe button. If you can like this video now and take 5 seconds of your time. Get all your questions in. I can see that Trons is on his wildcard, so let me know what wildcard picks you've gone with. Whilst I wait for some questions to come in, I'll go through my top differentials and captains for the game week. So let me go through them now. So here we go. This is my thread. So I posted this on my Twitter, which is at FPLMattDay. So I'll do my 3 captains. Number 1, Erling Haaland. Mainly because of his ownership. It's a big game. He seems to be good in these home matches as well. I do think it'll be tight. So I think it'll be maybe a 1-0 City. But if they score, I think he will. And he will get the bonus. I think he's a captain you pick because I feel like he will grab a goal. Then I've gone with Salah, number 2. Great record against West Ham. PSB spoke about it in the comments on this. So he's my number 2 captain. And then number 3, I've gone with Mitoma. Tipping Brighton to bounce back from the FA Cup. Mitoma, to get a good score. And then I'll go with my 3 differentials. So one of them is this man here, Moreno from Aston Villa. 2.8% owned. I still think he keeps his place in the side despite Digne coming back. The next one, just spoke about him then, big Dominic Solanke. He is 3.5% owned. And then my last one, Joe Willock at 1.1% owned. Type of game ever, that he comes out and just grabs a goal. He's looking brilliant at the moment. So they're my differentials and captain picks. We've had some comments come in, which is great. So just keep the questions flowing. Just ask whatever you like. Ready for this game week 33 deadline in 3.5 hours. Yeah, I know what you mean. Business end of the season. You've got your triple captain, so you could use that in game week 34 or game week 37. You could use a bench boost next week, or you could use it in game week 37 or game week 38. What you could do is you could build a nice bench all the way up till game week 38 and just do it on the last game week. Question from Raya. Welcome to the stream. Is it worth selling Kane to Jota, free transfer or roll? Are you using a chip in game week 34? Are you using a free hit? Are you using a wild card in game week 34? If you're not, I would say do this transfer because Jota plays twice in game week 34. And I think you'd want to get him in for that. If you're using a free hit, either way though, because if you free hit a wild card in 34, then you're forfeiting that transfer anyway. So yeah, no chips left. How many players do you have for 34 double game week players? I would maybe suggest for this week, keep Kane because he can still grab a goal. Hope that Jota blanks, doesn't score. Maybe they give Darwin the start. I don't think they will, but maybe it's just a game where Jota doesn't score. I know he's been on form. And then keep your 2 transfers for game week 34 because you're going to need them because you don't know who's going to get injured or suspended or any of that type of thing from this game week. So I think having no chips but having 2 transfers in game week 34 is going to be more crucial for you and your team than just using a transfer in game week 33. So I'd probably roll that, mate, to be honest. You're going to need 2 for game week 34. But we'll keep waiting for more questions to come in. I could talk about my transfers, but I've actually used my my wildcard. So I've done 15 transfers. You can see my wildcard video in my uploads. Chance has just said, do I follow the wildcard set up by FPL Harry? Anyways, I won't lose a rank because he's 202 in the world. Yeah, he's having a phenomenal season. 202. Crazy when people go that high and end up doing so well. And I guess if you follow his wildcard, or if you followed his team all season and just copied it week to week, you'd have a really high rank. But up to you, mate. Like me personally, I play the game how I like to play, so I just pick my own players. I go a little bit template, but I preferably just like to pick players that are a bit different or I think are going to do well. But more importantly, it's just about trying to win my mini leagues. At any time, mate. Bojan -4, wild card 33. So 33. Kane to Solanke, Saka to Salah. Okay, week 33, sorry, and then week 34, Kepa to Edison. Let me check. I'm going to check the fixtures for game week 34 again. I know there's a bunch of doubles. Bournemouth aren't one of them. Honestly, mate, to be honest, like you could maybe do. Nah. I'd roll for 34 because I think. Are you using a chip in game week 34? Obviously not if that's your transfer for 34. So again, I'd roll, mate, because I don't think there's any need in bringing Solanke in as part of a hit because game week 34, he's only got the one game. So, I just don't think it's worth you doing that. I think you need to go into game week 34, which is only a few days away. Remember that the next game week starts on the weekend and have those 2 transfers up your sleeve. And then you can bring Edison in and then you can make those transfers. You can bring Salah in for Saka then. And then you could maybe bring in, a striker that doubles. But then again, Fulham's double game week's pretty tough. Yeah, actually, looking at it, I think that's pretty good. I'd do that because Bournemouth have Leeds on the weekend. Southampton on this one. You've got Salah ready. You avoid any price rises. Looking at those fixtures, I would do that. I think the -4, Kane out, Solanke in, Saka out, Salah in, sets you up nicely for 34. And then on the weekend, you can put Edison in, gives you that City coverage and defence. They've got 2 good fixtures. I think that's a really good couple of transfers to make, mate. So yeah, best of luck. No hopes, just 1-2 mini league to win. So yeah, well, good luck, mate. Sounds like you're doing really, really well. Yeah, I've been thinking this. Okay, so not having those Arsenal players, it can hurt because they could easily, win these next few games with the fixtures that they've got. They can do damage even on the next game week where they play Chelsea. They could go out and win that game quite comfortably with the form Chelsea have been on. They've not been scoring goals, so it could really hurt, especially not owning Martinelli. That's what worries me. He's hurt me in the past. Who's to say they don't go out to City, win the game, or score goals? So yeah, we're definitely going to have a point from now till the end of the season, and it could be this week, but we're going to need Arsenal players back in. You look at game weeks 37 and 38, 2 really good fixtures. You're going to need at least 2 Arsenal players against Forest in 37 and Wolves at home in 38, because even if they don't win this league, they're still going to be winning games of football. They've still been playing good football this season. So yeah, I agree. I think it could really, really hurt. And no problems at all, my friend. Look, we've not had too many other questions come in just yet. So if you do have one for game week 33 or any of the future game weeks, please get them in now. I'm planning to stream just for at least maybe another 5 minutes now before I leave. So yeah, get any questions in. Like this stream. If you are new here, you just come into the stream, give it a like. Subscribe if you're new here as well. And continue to get your comments in as well. It's all really, really appreciated. Yeah, I can't wait for this game week. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, from a Spurs point of view, I'm not entirely excited for our game against Man United. It's probably going to be quite painful, but I am excited for this title clash. I'm hoping City can come out and do the business and get the win. But you just never know in football. You never know. Arsenal are going to be hungry. They're going to be up for it. This is a do or die game for them. For City, they've won this league the last few years. They want to win the Champions League. They've got an FA Cup final against their biggest rivals in Manchester United. So for them to not win this league, but win the FA Cup and Champions League, it's still a brilliant season. But I'm just hoping they can get the job done. But it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks, which is why Brain is coming up before, but I completely agree. We can't necessarily neglect Arsenal players on our wild cards. But look, it doesn't look like we're going to get any more questions. I'll give it another minute or so I will stay live here on the show. If we get any questions, post them now. I'm going to stay on for another minute or so, and then I'll look to wrap up the stream. If we don't get anything else in, yeah, with my wild card, how am I feeling about it? I did my wild card video. Not 100% too sure, to be honest. I feel like I'm going to get hurt from a couple of players I've sold, particularly James Maddison against Leeds. But that's the thing about wildcard, and you have to take those risks. I'm definitely going to leave points on my bench, like Jack Grealish, Mark Gahey, who I think will do well this week. I get this horrible feeling that if Spurs don't show up against Man United and they keep a clean sheet, that I'm going to end up leaving a couple of clean sheets on my bench as well. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous about that. We've got a wildcard set up here of Edison Steele, SG Penat, Trippier, Botman, Shaw, Trent, Rashford, Matoma, March, Salah, Bruno, Haaland, Isaac, and Jota. Very strong, mate. One thing I will say, Luke Steele has apparently lost his place. So they think Sanchez is going to come back into the side. Played really well in the FA Cup. Played in Brighton's league game before. So maybe just be a little bit cautious. What I will say is if you go for the Man City second keeper as your backup, and City have won the league on the last day of the season, they might even just drop him, especially if City make the Champions League final, and they might play their second keeper, and you've got him ready for that. But I'm assuming you're using up your bench boost somewhere you mentioned, so I'll try and get a playing someone that's definitely going to play, mate. So I just don't think Steele will keep his place. But good luck strong team, mate. Jota, Isaac, Haaland, really good. Be cautious on Bruno. He's injured for this game week, I think, so you might want to bench him. But it doesn't look like we're going to get any more questions. Again, I'll give it another 30 seconds or so to see if anything comes in. I really appreciate everyone that come into the stream tonight. It was late notice. I wanted to come on and do a Q&A before deadline, just because I know there is a few regulars that watch and we're waiting for some questions. Jermaine is one of them. No worries, mate. It was I hope you're good. It was just a last minute stream. So I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions before this deadline. Maddison to Salah. And you've got the money to do it. That's big. Funnily enough, mate, I was just saying on this pod at the start that I've sold Maddison on my wild card, and I'm a little bit worried that, I'm a little bit worried that he could come out and get someone against Leeds. But the reason I would do this transfer is if you're planning, if you need Salah for game week 34 because you're not on a free hit and you're not on a wild card in game week 34, then I think do it now in 33 and get him ready to avoid any price rises. But if you're using a free hit in 34, I'll probably stick with Maddison for a game week because you just never know. But if you're preparing transfers, I'll just do it, mate, especially because you've got the money. And great to have you back in the stream, mate. Really appreciate your support. And it's great to see you in the stream. It's been a while, mate. I can't remember the last stream you come into. Let me know the last one you come into, mate, what game week it was. It's been a while. I'm doing well. Obviously a few hours until deadline. Excited for another week of FPL. So you've got Son and Kane. Got rid of Saka, Trippier and Isaac. Oh, mate. Yeah, that's right, because Kane scored, didn't he? So Kane scored, but you got rid of Saka. Okay, Trippier, Isaac. Yeah. Isaac was the killer, but, mate, it happens. I'd originally planned to use my free hit in 32. I built a free hit team for everyone on this that comes and views the podcast. I did a video on it. That team got about, I think, 70 or 80 points. And I decided to save my free hit for 34. My own personal team got like 40 points. So, yeah, it happens to us all, mate, unfortunately. He's actually back, mate. So Leicester posted pictures of Maddison training. And Dean Smith said if he gets through training all right, he will 100% start the game. And he was in all the training pictures and stuff earlier. So, yeah, look, I think, though, if you're not using a chip on game week 34, you may as well get Salah in now. If Maddison returns, you've probably got a high chance of Salah scoring anyway, mate. Play Chilwell against Brentford or Shaw against Spurs? I'd say Chilwell because the threat of Harry Kane is always going to be there. He just delivers goals, and I don't think we'll win, but Spurs will have a point to prove. Kane always has a point to prove. You saw it against Newcastle. Like, the game was done. It was 5-0. And then Kane scores an absolutely brilliant goal, which has kind of gone under the radar because the game was 5-0 at the time. Obviously, they won 6-1. But I'll probably say Chilwell because that Brentford game has a chance of being 0-0, 1-0 either way. Chilwell's always an attacking threat, as is Shaw. But I think Chilwell just edges it, mate. Edges it. Is this a good week to play wildcard or leave until 35? I've still got bench boost. I've actually done a wildcard video about wildcarding in game week 33. So in my videos, I've done a game week 33 wildcard. And in that wildcard, I've gone through all of the weeks until the last day of the season. And in that wildcard video, so you can go on it, there's chapters on there as well. If you go on that video, there's actually bench boost options that you can use in game week 34, 36, 37. So I think you can build a squad now with a wild card that gives you at least 3 bench boost options from now to the end of the season. If you've already got a good team for this game week and you're looking to use a free hit in game week 34, so 34 is done, you could then wildcard in 35 and build a bench boost from there as well. But I don't mind. I don't mind this wild card for this week, mate. I think it's a good time. Yeah, I think it's the right choice. Who should I bench this week? The options: Raya, Kepa, Saka, Shaw, Kane, Estupiñán, Botman. It's tough when you've got goalkeepers like that. It's tough. It's tough between Kepa and Raya because Chelsea are home. So you'd probably want to back Kepa, but Raya just gets a ridiculous amount of save points and he's so high on the bonus that I'd probably edge it towards Raya. That's literally nothing in it for me. I'd say Raya just edges it because of how good he's been in FPL. So I'll probably bench Kepa. Sure. You can't bench Saka. You just can't. Arsenal, tough game, but they're too good going forward. Saka is on pens. I know he's missed a couple, but like you can't bench Saka. I don't think you can. You can't bench Estupiñán. I'd probably say Kepa, Shaw, Botman, but bench Botman, and you have to go into that with the mindset of Newcastle might keep a clean sheet. But I think Estupiñán will keep a clean sheet if you play him. I think Kane can score a goal if you play him. I just think Saka is one of them. Like he could be quiet. He could be quiet in that game. But if Arsenal do score, there's always a strong chance he's involved. And I just don't think you'll want to. It's a tough player to bench, mate. It's a tough player. I can't remember who you support, mate. If you support Arsenal, I'm not sure if you do support Arsenal. Then I'd play Saka. If you support Spurs like me, then it's probably easier for you to bench Saka. But yeah, if that was my team, mate, I'd probably just bench Botman. And if he keeps a clean sheet, I'll be like, oh well. I always like to go for goals, mate. I think Saka's just very, very good footballer. He's always going to be. He's closer to scoring a goal, than what Botman is. Although Botman's probably closer to a clean sheet than is. I'd say Saka's still closer to scoring a goal than Newcastle keeping a clean sheet, maybe. I don't know. That's what I'd do anyway, mate. So good luck. And you've already got Trippier. So yeah, bench Botman, mate. Awesome. All right, look, let's leave it there. There's not been any more questions that have come in. So thanks to everyone that has come in tonight, viewed the stream, asked questions. I really appreciate all the support. If you haven't liked the video already, please just give it a like. Only takes 5 seconds of your time. Subscribe to the channel if you've just joined, or if you're new here and haven't watched an upload before. Appreciate all of the support. Continue to get your comments in if you do watch this on pre-record. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at FPLMattDay. So you can find me on those socials, also on TikTok. So go and follow me on there as well. Good luck, everyone, for Game Week 33. If you're playing your wild card, best of luck. I'm FPL Matt Day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.